Welcome to the weather forecast for the week beginning Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. This is Chief Meteorologist John Insworth with Longmont Public Media. And we're doing Patriotic Day for Homecoming Week, and so I've got Captain America shirt on today. All right, so we have a new moon on September 21st. Sun has new sunspots in active areas coming around from the eastern side. Sunrise is 6:46 a.m. on Saturday, 7 o'clock p.m., and we have lost another 17 minutes of daylight in the last week. Looking at drought conditions, very little change, but we have had water. Looking nationally, there's relief in the west from some of the drought conditions as the monsoon flow has continued and has been pretty active. Phoenix has had a lot of rain and thunderstorms and dust storms and all that. Not much happening in the fire department either. Oh, that's funny, fire department. Except for way up in the Pacific Northwest. And we're pretty much in the clear. So you can see the mountains nicely. You can see the dusting of snow on the mountains. We've had a couple systems come through cold enough at high elevations to leave the snow. So looking at water, we're at 86%. So we've gone up a little bit. Few percent better. It's nice. And there you can see there is widespread half-inch to inch amounts, and a few 2 to 3 inches in the northern mountains and down here in the southwest. And and the western slopes are definitely seeing more moisture, and they're going to see more yet to come. All right, this is the last time we'll have the climatology of severe weather animation as I flip through the weeks. Could do this for every day, but maybe that's a big investment of time. So there we're, fourth week of September, and just a little bit out in Tornado Alley, and we still will get severe weather now and then, but it's not often. So here's Wednesday, and we do have a marginal and slight risk just south of Denver. The Springs and Pueblo are in those. Just general thunderstorms today. For Thursday, general thunderstorms kind of Loveland down to Boulder and to the south and east. Kind of interesting. And then for Friday, we get cut off from thunderstorm activity, which is great. I'm giving a talk at the Berthoud Observatory at 7:30 on string theory. If you're interested, go to Berthoud High School and park the parking lot. And our school is, of course, having homecoming, so that's the big game. Looking at the frontal systems, we do have a front stalled south of us. That's keeping us a little cooler and providing some focus here. There's the snow up at the highest elevations. For Thursday, little chance of precipitation. They've got it a little trimmed further south, but same basic idea. And then dry for Friday with a stalled front to our north. The highs and lows expected are dropping pretty quickly, 78 to 74. We were just at 90 just a month ago, and 47 down to 44, so pretty amazing. Both on the 19th, we had a record high in this 10-day period of 96 in 2010 and a low of 20 in 1971. So when that happened, people were probably scrambling to get the sprinklers safe. We got some cloudiness over the weekend, and then a hint that we're getting more moisture at the end of this period at the end of the month. And we have pretty good chance of precipitation on Thursday, and a little peak on Monday. It's kind of low. It's afternoon popcorn style thunderstorms that wander around and may or may not get you. We definitely have a little more wind as the front goes by early in the week. And we have the Wednesday afternoon thunderstorms happening right now. So, all right, putting this in motion, we have a cutoff low here, and then we're going to have a cutoff low over here. And it's kind of interesting. We're in a ridge in between, but the heights are kind of lower, so we aren't seeing the crazy temperatures. Here's the high center down here in Mexico. We have a grazing trough come down and then dig in and cut off again. And we have this old trough swinging around a much larger trough in the west and out in the ocean. For the 26th, 27, 28, we have a direct hit from a trough go by, so we should see rain and thunderstorms then. And then there's hurricanes coming in at the bottom with a larger trough passing to the north right at the end of the month. So let's see how that shapes up with temperatures. We have cool air behind the stalled front to our south right now. That kind of sits out to our east, but it's under that cutoff low, and so you're going to see this little blob of cool linger for a bit. We have above normal temperatures. Expect 80s. Then that next cutoff comes through around the 23rd and 24th. You can see it spin in the same place as the previous one, just holding a bubble of cool air amid a bunch of warm. You see the west coast is starting to cool down as that larger trough pushes in. On the 27th, 28th, you can see a real Pacific cold front start to push into this nation and then into our state. And that's the end of the loop. Looking at moisture, this is precipitatable water in the model. This is a dyed remnants of a tropical system putting a lot of moisture in the west. And that kind of does track past us. On Monday, that's our little slightly elevated chance of showers. Then we go back to 15%-ish chances of rain, and the atmosphere is pretty dry. There's the cutoff low. There's another hurricane over here. And then by the 25th, 26th, we get this big surge of moisture up from Mexico across the state. Good chance of thunderstorms then. That's as that trough crosses. And near the end of the time, we got lots of dry air coming in with that big Pacific front. Dew points, kind of low, and then we dry out. I'm going to go ahead and play this because near the end, it's interesting to watch moisture come back from the Gulf. So yeah, 40s, it's okay. It's enough to fire off a thunderstorm or two, especially on the foothills. And then we get real dry on the 23rd, 24th. We're down to the teens in dew points. So that will shut things off for that. And then 25th, 26th, we're there. And then here comes the surge of moisture up from the Gulf. We see 50s and 60s on the plains. And then the big Pacific cold front comes in with more dry air. All right, so let's take a look at the precipitation. There's our Wednesday storms moving out overnight. We see a little moisture to our south. Very active monsoons here. Things are kind of quiet over the weekend. Then there's thunderstorms tracking on Monday across mainly the northern part of the state. And we're dry again as the dew points dry out and the moisture gets cut off briefly. You got that low spinning out here in the Midwest, keeping cool stuff there. Then here comes the surge of moisture on the 26th, 27th. Really good chance for thunderstorms across the state then. And then here comes the cold front with mountain snows even embedded in there. So the next 5 days, some precipitation is coming in, but not tremendous amounts. We're about a quarter inch or so. Interesting axis here. I'm not sure why. But in the next 10 days, the pattern doesn't change much. A little gets added to it. So that big surge of moisture comes right after that. So we were 80s dropping to 70s for Thursday with a cool front. Then we kind of bounced back into the above normal 80s with thunderstorm chances through the weekend into Monday, and then a little warmer and drier on Tuesday. 2 weeks out, the Weather Service is predicting us to be still above normal at the West Coast. Remember that big trough is sitting out there, and I guess that pattern's going to hold. But a little bit wetter than normal, so we might gain on our drought conditions, get a percent or two added on. That's it for today. This has been Chief Meteorologist John Ensworth, urging you to keep looking up.